tears fall, let them fall. If your tears fall, let them fall. If you're sad, make sure that you're sad. Only one night though. Only one night though. It's looking like a brand new day. A brand new day. Good morning. 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 I can see a brand new day. I can see a brand new day. Looking like a brand new day. Looking like a brand new day. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Yeah. Only one night though. Only one night though. Only one night though. Only one night though. If you cry, make sure that you cry. Only one night though. Don't give the devil no more. Only one night though. Tears may fall, make sure that it's. You might catch me out of pocket, but it's only gonna be. You might catch me slipping, but it's gonna be. You might see me crying, but it's gonna be. You may see my tears falling, but it's gonna be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I gotta go. I have no other choice but to trust you. All I can do, I have no other choice but to believe. Sing it with me, sing it with me, sing it with me, sing it with me. I have no other choice but to trust you. Hey, and that's all I can do. Everybody sing. I have no other choice but to believe. What can I hear y'all? 1, 2, 3, say. Only one night though. To trust you. Only one night though. I have no other choice but to believe. I 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 believe. Every word that you say. Every word that you promise. Everything that you spoke. Every word that you spoke over me. Yeah. I gotta go. Sad, make sure that you're sad. Only one night though. Don't cry all week, just cry. Only one night though. Only one night though. Don't be stressed all week. Make sure it's. Don't be mad all month. Make sure it's just. Don't cry all this year. Make sure it's. Make sure it's. Make sure it's. If you cry, make sure that you cry. If you're sad, make sure that you're sad. Only one night though. They that wait under the cherry do their strength. They shall mount up wings like eagles. They shall rise and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Don't you faint. Please don't faint. only. Yeah, I was sad, but it was only. Yeah, I shed tears, but it was only. But it was only. But it was only. I was really sad, but it was only. I was really mad, but it was only. I was stressed all night long, but it only. But it was only. But it was only. I was confused, but it was only one night. I was so hurt, but it was only one night. I was so angry, but it was only. But it was only one night. But it was only one night. Looking like a brand new day. I can see a brand new. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Orlando. Good morning. Good morning. It's a new day. 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 Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. Don't let your tears last all week. Don't let your sadness last all month. Don't be mad all year.
Hello? Okay, here we are. Good evening, everyone. Y'all ready to get this started? Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out to the first of many candidate forums during this election season. I'm Damon Gardner. I'm one of the chairs of the NAACP Arlington Political Action Committee, and this forum is done in partnership with the Arlington Alpha Fraternity and Delta Theta sorority. I hope I got that right. They'll kill me for butchering it. But tonight we're going to do a candidate forum for the primary candidates. And before we get us started, I'm going to introduce our president of the Arlington NAACP, Pastor President Kennedy Jones.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. It's really important that we stay engaged in these matters which are of utmost importance when it comes to democracy, when it comes to the local issues that are highly important to you. It is of critical importance that we stay engaged. And so we have candidates here tonight from various areas in terms of local, state, and national that are going to engage the issues that are important. We've got a great moderator, Dr. Jason Shelton, that'll be working the plan, and so we are grateful and very thankful for you being here, and we just really want you to stay engaged. You know, this is not the time to be sleeping. This is the time to be awake. This is the time to know what the issues are and to be able to make intelligent, informed decisions. And so that's what we, the NAACP, the Alphas, the Deltas, collectively have put together this forum, hopefully to help you to be better informed and engaged. And the better informed that you are, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers. You be the light that sparks their understanding of the issues and have them come into a better knowledge and to be able to do a better job at making an informed decision and then to go out and vote. And so with that, our moderator for this evening, Dr. Jason Shelton.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Hey, good evening, everybody. Y'all all right? All right. It is an honor and privilege to be here tonight. Every nerdy professor wants to do his or her part to make an impact on the local community. It's great to be here at Koinonia. I don't know if Pastor Goines is here. I've had the honor and privilege of serving with him on the Arlington Unity Council. Pastor Jones and I served as well some years ago. Where the good brothers of A5A at? I know we up in here. That's what's up. Where my good sorority sisters of Delta Sigma Theta at? Y'all up in here? All right, there we go, there we go. All right, y'all. So it's always important, as a good pastor said, to stay engaged, to be a part of organizations and institutions like churches, fraternities, sororities, and a vast number of others, organizations and institutions in the African-American community that are engaged to bring about social change. But the reason why you all are here tonight is to begin to assess some of these candidates that are running for office, and we want to thank you all for being here as well. Before I welcome you all to the stage, I want to give a brief introduction about sort of the rules and regulations and how we're going to get down tonight. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. We're going to have 3 different series of conversations. The first one will sort of be the longest. It'll last about 35, 40 minutes. Second one after that may last anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes, and the third one anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. But regardless of the session, each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. We will also take written questions from the floor. I have a set of questions to sort of keep the conversation, to get it started, to get a little bit of momentum, but we want your engagement, all right? How can we get you engaged? What we're gonna ask you to do is to write down your questions. Where are my student volunteers from UTA at? All right, why don't y'all walk throughout the halls, all right? Come down the aisles. You see these young folks? Let's clap it up for them, y'all. All right? Over the course of the evening, these young people will be here with their shirts on. Some of them got Alpha shirts, some of them got Delta shirts, some of them are white shirts. But what you will see is just raise your hand. What they will come around with are cards and pens. You will write your question down on the card. Then raise your hand again, and one of the students will come by and pick it up. They will bring those cards down here to the front, where we have our timekeeper, good brother Billy Wilson, and brother Maurice Washington, who will be going through the cards, and they will vet some of these questions. We don't have the time to ask every question, y'all. We're going to do our best to get more questions in as possible. All right, so we would love your communication and your participation tonight. The questions that I'm going to ask you all tonight are the typical kind of questions that you would get in any political forum. Of course, this being the NAACP, Delta Sigma Theta, and the good brothers of A5A, we're gonna ask y'all some questions related to race and ethnicity. All right, there will be questions that aren't related to race and ethnicity, but within the context, you should anticipate some of those. In addition to when I ask you all those questions, I'll make it clear you have 1 minute to answer this question. And the good brother Billy Wilson is going to be the timekeeper today. And I've done this with him for years, and he will cut you down, all right? So let's try to be succinct and get as many answers into these questions as possible. At the end, everybody's going to have a 1 minute closing statement, okay? And we're going to go in the reverse order that we started with. So let's say we started going left to right in the beginning, we'll end going right to left. So that way you get your time in the sun to make your case. With that, I want to ask our candidates who are running for either the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House of Representatives to come to the stage. And I want y'all to clap it up for these people, all right? Okay, what I'd like to do is have our candidates for the U.S. Senate here in these 3 seats, the first set of seats, and our candidates for the U.S. House on those set of seats over there. So we got House here and Senate here divided. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to add something here. Where are our candidates also for the Texas State House? We're going to have both of those races here. Yes, we have you up here. Denise and Ebony, yes, we want you up here too. Forgive me on that. So what you all are going to notice here is that on one side of the table, we have candidates who are running for the U.S. Congress, either the Senate or the House, on this closer table. On the farther table are going to be our candidates that are running for the Texas House, okay? So make sure you're paying attention here to national or federal and state, okay? So with that, y'all, we're going to get started. We'll start. Yes, sir. Say that one more time, Frat. Oh, yes, sir. Billy, explain the yellow and red, sir. So red is when you're getting near the end, all right? So we'll start wrapping it up. At the 30, the yellow is when you're getting close. You still got some time. With that, we will start to my immediate right. Your name, sir? Steve Keogh. Steve Keogh, you have 2 minutes to make an introductory statement, sir.
Just checking this. As a patent attorney, you'd think I'd know that. I'm Steve Keogh. I'm running for the United States Senate. I'm delighted to be here. I'm honored to be here. And I thank the 3 terrific organizations, the NAACP, of course, renowned, the wonderful Service Sorority, and also the Arlington Alphas, a very great mentoring fraternity. So thank you very much for coordinating this, and the esteemed moderator. I'm from San Antonio. I'm a retired U.S. Navy captain of 26 years. Then I became a patent attorney, which I've been doing for quite a while. I have 4 adult daughters along with my wife of 39 years. And we are focused on issues that improve the quality of life for everyday folks. So my top 3 platforms relate to healthcare. And I believe very strongly, and it's my #1 legislative priority, that abortion care is health care. And also we must ensure that women have the say in how they care for their bodies. The second area of great interest to me is the economy. There's a tremendous lack of focus, I think, among a lot of folks in leadership on the impact of daily costs and burdens on folks in our communities in Texas, particularly here. A good example is the price of utilities in this area. We need to look at that. It's way above the average, I think. And then the third area of focus is the border and immigration. My #1 priority in that area is, look, the dreamers need to have full citizenship. These are young people that came into our country, didn't have a chance to get citizenship when they came in with their folks or by themselves. They've worked their butts off. They've gone to schools. They've been productive members of our society. It is time to get them full citizenship. These issues have a lot of more to discuss, and we'll do that later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is, oh, sorry. Am I good? Got the timer? Great. Hi, everyone. I am Heli Rodriguez Perlman, and I'm a working mom and a tech entrepreneur. That is super excited to be here to be serving as candidate and eventually your future U.S. Senator. But yeah, I'm a working mom and a tech entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in Silicon Valley. I've helped build startups and advise startups from historically underrepresented backgrounds. And but before all my startup adventures, I grew up in a town called Stephenville. It's an hour southwest of Fort Worth, rural dairy town. My dad was a farm worker from Monterrey, Mexico. He came over here as a teen, eventually worked at this pecan farm outside Lincolnville, Texas, and eventually started his own small business. And my mom, she was an educator at Tarleton State, and my grandmother, because it's Black History Month, in 1968 when MLK got shot and then Bobby Kennedy got shot and then a lot of other civil rights leaders were on the list, my grandmother, Fort Worth civil rights activist Pauline Gasca Valenciano helped hide Cesar Chavez in the basement of St. Patrick's Cathedral in downtown Fort Worth. So I tell you these stories of to let you know that I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, activists, educators, and it's so important when women's reproductive rights are on the line in this state to have a progressive woman of color who can speak to these issues, and my campaign's the startup for a Texas that we can all be a part of. So my 3 priorities are, number 1, healthcare. We have to have universal healthcare, Medicare for all. Whether you have insurance or not, you're paying too much, and your insurance shouldn't be attached to an employer. People move around, right? And this should include maternal healthcare, mental healthcare. That I have complex PTSD and ADHD from being in an abusive relationship while I was in high school. It's so, so important to have mental health care included in that. And then number 2 is our economy. We have to rethink how we beef it up. Innovation can't happen when we're all burnt out and stretched thin. We have to get working parents affordable childcare, 24/7 options of childcare. And then number 3 is our democracy needs some love. We absolutely have to get money out of politics if we want anything to change, and also pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And so yes, I'm Kelly Rodriguez-Perlman, excited to be here.
Did you say democracy needs love?
Yes.
It does. Democracy needs love. And I'm John Love. I'd like to thank the NAACP, Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Phi Alpha, and Koinonia. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for butchering. Thank you for having this forum. Thank you to everyone who is here. I am a 7-year city councilman, past president of the Texas Municipal League, mayor pro tem twice. I served on the Board of Trade Advisory Committee appointed by the office of the governor, the only smart thing that Greg Abbott has ever done. I'm just really tired of everything that is happening and that's going on. Let me give you a little bit about my background. My mother's ancestors were in Galveston in 1865 to hear General Granger read Order Number 3, the original Juneteenth. They marched to Navarro County and settled a freedmen's colony called Forks of the Creek. It's now called Pelham. That's where I live, and that's where I'm running out of. My mom always says, because being in Texas, you know, sometimes they think that black people were not full Texans. But one of the sayings that my mom says is, I'm so Texan that my ancestors slaved here. My dad's family, my dad was born 14 years after the massacre at Black Wall Street. He was born in Tulsa. It just so happened that his grandparents, my great-grandparents, had a place in Lawton, Oklahoma, where they were at the time that this happened. So it's by the grace of God that I am here before you. Protect the vote, protect lives with sensible gun regulation, believe and support women. Not just the right to choose, but believe them when they talk about being victims of domestic violence. Believe and support capitalism, humane immigration with modern borders, and civil rights for everyone.
Thank you.
John Love.
Thank you, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Wilkerson. I'm a retired attorney, a mom to 5 wonderful kids, including my oldest son, who is an active duty naval aviator currently stationed somewhere in the Mediterranean. And I am running for state representative for House District 94, which is Arlington, Hearst, Euless, Bedford. This November, we will win with Wilkerson because I will stand strong for our public schools. I will never support vouchers. My opponent, Tony Tinderholt, supports vouchers. You know who else supports vouchers? West Texas billionaires. Do you think billionaires have your children's best interest at heart? Heck no. This November, we will win with Wilkerson because I will stand strong for the economy. My opponent voted no on legislation that would have brought good-paying jobs and economic activity to Tarrant County. Do you know why he voted no? Because some West Texas billionaire told him to vote no. Do you think those West Texas billionaires has Tarrant County's best interest at heart? Heck no. This November, we will win with Wilkerson because I will stand strong against corruption. My opponent receives the majority of his campaign contributions from some West Texas billionaires. But you're not surprised to hear that. Do you think those West Texas billionaires have your best interests at heart? Heck no. They call this the Lone Star State, not the Billionaire Star State. And I just learned something this week. Do you know what they call a Democrat who beats an incumbent Republican? A dragon slayer. I am Denise, the Dragon Slayer Wilkerson, and I will win this November.
Good evening. That's a hard act to follow, right? I want to first say thank you to my sorors of the Arlington Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and the NAACP and the Arlington Alphas for hosting this candidate forum and for having us here this evening. My name is Ebony Turner, and I am running to be the next state representative for Texas House District 96. As you may remember, I actually ran for judge for 2 long years over a year ago. And I'll be honest, I was tired. I had no plans to throw my hat in the ring again anytime soon. But like Denise and like the others have stated, the Texas legislature decided to take up voucher bills. I have an amazing, wonderful son who is 10 years old named Isaiah. Isaiah has Down syndrome. Vouchers hurt kids like Isaiah because they're in special ed, and vouchers divert public funds from public schools. And when my incumbent legislator decided to vote for vouchers, I told him, I said, "You're voting against my son, Isaiah." And so when he did that, that was it. I tossed my hat in the ring, and so here I am right now. And I can assure you that I will be fighting for special needs parents, special needs students. I will be fighting for women's reproductive health care, privacy, because I do believe that what happens in a woman's uterus is between her doctor, and her faith leader. So those are some of the issues I will be fighting for. I will be fighting to overturn those anti-DEI laws that are affecting higher education. My university has already been, my alma mater has already been negatively affected. And so I welcome all the questions. I know I'm running out of time. That's the fastest 2 minutes in history. But I'm Ebony Turner. I'm running for Texas House District 96. Vote EB for HD 96.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you all for that opening. Again, I want to encourage the community to write down your questions. I have some here, but I'd love to get you all as involved. Remember, our students are out here, and they've got baskets for questions. That being said, I'm going to start off with a, yes, sir.
I'm not sure if they understand that they're not running against each other.
Right.
Yes, no doubt, no doubt. But what I also want to make it clear is that these folks are not running against one another, okay? They're not running against one another, but they are here to represent what they're running for. Well, these two, okay, my fault. That's right, these two are running against each other. That's right, that's right. There we go. But that being said, my first question is a big picture question for each of you all to answer. Please name a national leader, someone who has already been elected to office that inspires you. What is it about this person that you admire and why? 1 minute only for this question. A national leader that has been elected to office that inspires you. What is it about this person? Anyone can answer, whatever order. Ebony, I saw you grab the mic first.
Because I don't want them to steal my answer.
That's what's up. Go for it.
It's going to be my soror, Jasmine Crockett. She is in Congress, and she is doing the darn thing. She is speaking truth to power, and as far as I can tell, she's the only one that's really doing it with the courage and gumption that she's doing it with. She's been an amazing leader. She only spent 1 term in the Texas House before going to Congress, and boy, has she made an impact in Congress. Like I said, she's up there fighting for us. She's the only one that's, telling us what's going on with the, impeachment of, alleged impeachment of Biden and all that kind of stuff that's going on, and she is up there doing it. She's working hard for her district, and I want to be that type of leader.
Very good. Anybody else? Denise, I see you grab the mic.
The person who inspires me is Katie Porter. She is a representative out of California, and she's just a mom who I think she was a professor before she ran for state representative. But what I love about her is the way she challenges those corporate leaders with her whiteboard and does all that math. When she showed the president of Wells Fargo that the people who work in his bank can't afford to live based on what he's paying them, and he's making billions. I just love that stuff. So Katie Porter is the person who inspires me.
John, I saw you, sir.
Yes, sir. I love Jasmine as well. I love Katie also. But I'll have to go with my fraternity brother, Jim Clyburn. Civil rights leader, courage, no nonsense, exhibits manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Jim Clyburn is the de facto leader of the Democratic Party. He is the man who got Joe Biden elected. And for those of you who don't know, Joe Biden is doing an excellent job. Regardless of what you hear in the media, he's doing an incredible job. So when I grow up, I want to be like Jim Clyburn.
So I know the colors that the good Jim Block Clyburn wears, because I had him on campus in the Center for African American Studies a few years ago, but I don't know if everybody else here does. Can you please tell the room what fraternity he's a member of, and you too?
Should I bark?
I'm giving you an opportunity. You better take it while you can.
Okay, well, they got cameras. I won't bark, but Jim Clyburn is a member of Omega Psi Phi. And this is out for all you alphas out there.
I told you I was giving you an opportunity. You better take it while you can.
Hey, you line them up, I'll knock them down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You ain't knocking down no alpha brothers tonight. We got you up in here tonight.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Go next.
Hey, it's too many of y'all in here.
Yeah, we got you tonight, bro. All right, whoever wants to go next.
Okay, so just because AOC, when I saw that she, won, and I didn't even know who she was. I did not know who she was, just this New York girl, but I remember looking and seeing her and how she resembled me, and just something in my head was like, oh my gosh, like I could do that, and I'm like here, right? But before her, it was Bernie Sanders who actually got me to actually care again and actually get involved. But he inspired her. So yeah, it's kind of hard for me to pick one without the other one before it, right?
Very good, very good. Steve?
Well, all great people and inspirational, some of whom I would have probably chosen. But I have to go with the perennial underdog, the Vice President of the United States, because Vice President Harris has taken so much crap, and she gets so dissed, it just gets me upset, because people don't know how hard that job is. They don't know all the things that happen behind the scenes, and it takes someone with indomitable character to stand up, to smile when necessary, and be tough as nails when necessary, and defend her boss when necessary. But I have full confidence and inspiration from her, and I hope and I pray that you do as well. She needs it, we all need it, and we never know where we're going to need it. So, Vice President Harris is mine.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Maurice, I want to come to you to see if you have any questions so far, sir. All right, folks. All right. Maurice, while you're looking through those, I'll go on and ask another question here. My first question will come to our candidates that are running for federal office, and I got a state question for you all. But for you three, the United States Supreme Court recently ended affirmative action programs in public and private institutions that receive federal aid. Do you support this decision? Why or why not? And let's make this 1 minute to get as many questions in as possible. John, I saw you grab the mic.
I do not support the Supreme Court decision. Affirmative action allows us to have opportunity. It's been mischaracterized as just giving a handout or accepting subpar people, and that is not what affirmative action is all about. It is righting wrongs in the past. It's opening doors to opportunities for those who didn't have opportunities historically. I disagree with what the Supreme Court did.
Very good. Helly, I think I saw you.
Yes, so I worked in the tech startup field, and I was one of the considered minority underestimated founders, right? So of all the dollars that get put into venture capital or into startups by venture capital, only 2% goes to female-founded startups. And if you're a black female founder, it's 0.2% of all venture capital dollars in startups go to black female founders. So I know firsthand like how important it is to have specific programming that focuses on particular communities to give them the support. Like, for instance, one of my friends who is the founder of Fearless Fund, Ms. Simone, she's taking a court case right now all the way to the Supreme Court to fight this kind of thing because so few minority women get any funds at all to start companies. And so it is just so wrong on so many levels. They don't understand the importance of how, it's like we get the crumbs already, you know? And so we want the whole cake. And it should be as such, and we should make spaces for us, so yeah.
Very good, thank you. Steve, you don't have to, I didn't.
Can you explain what the Fearless Fund is? I think about
Yes, okay, so the Fearless Fund is one of the few, because there hasn't been a ton, of, there's startup, so venture capital funds are the ones who invest in startups, right? Like the Airbnbs, the DoorDashes, all of those things, right? And so basically the Fearless Fund was started specifically to invest venture capital dollars into startups founded by black female founders. And so there's other firms that do that. Like whenever I had my startup, Lacquer Bar U, I was invested in by Arlen Hamilton, who's the founder of Backstage Capital. And that was one of the first minority-focused venture firms. So it gave me an opportunity. And it's always women of color who are the ones who are leading these initiatives. And so the Fearless Fund, they have funded startups. They have helped black women and women of color in general be able to move their companies forward. Like, for instance, here's a perfect example. There was a founder.
10 seconds.
Oh
Gotta
my
keep
gosh,
it
I
moving.
have so many stories though. Okay, but basically, the Fearless Fund is being attacked, and if they lose this court case, then all funds that are focused on a particular community will not exist anymore. And so we can't let that happen.
Steve, if you would like to answer the question, sir.
Thank you. This case reminds me to be sure and remind you why everywhere I go, I wear my commanding officer pin. And it's this little thing here, and there's 3 prongs on it. And I tell people, particularly people who don't know what DEI means, that this, what it is, and it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for some people, they're shocked because they never even knew the words, right? But for this group, you understand it. As for that case, it was a very interesting case. Justice Gorsuch was the lead author on that, and he took quite a bit of time explaining that this was based on the 14th Amendment, the equal due process and such. It was very eloquent. However, the quote that I remember about this case, which obviously you'll see I do not agree with the case, it was Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. And what she said in her dissent was, let me see, race blindness does not solve the problems from racially disadvantageous situations. And that is so true. It is so true.
Thank you.
And we just have to keep attacking it in other ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For our state candidates running for Texas House districts, one of you ladies mentioned the issue of school choice. I want to go back to that issue and discuss it more in depth. What are your feelings about public school choice? Should parents be able to select the public school that their child attends in the state of Texas? Why or why not? Whoever wants to go first.
So should they be able to select the public school or any school?
Any school, I said public, but of course
Okay.
it is public or private.
Sure. Yes. So, like I said, vouchers is the reason why I decided to even run for office. It was a final straw because it's misleading to say parental choice. And I always find it ironic that the other side throws the word choice in when it's convenient, and then when it's not convenient, it's a dirty word. So I do not believe it's about parental choice, because if my son Isaiah decides to go to a private school, he will not have, there's no accountability there. He won't have to get the services that he gets in public school. So with his different therapies that he receives, there's no one there to force him to do that, to force the schools to provide those services that he gets. So it's not really going to be a choice for us if vouchers are passed.
Denise?
The voucher program is not parental choice. It is the private school's choice on which students they take. Every other state that has implemented the voucher program, 90% of the people who take advantage of it are people who already were able to afford to send their children to private schools. It is not going to help the ordinary, everyday, working class family put their children into private schools. They still won't be able to afford it. And the private schools are not going to accept every child who applies. They will still have their criteria. They'll still have to pass a test of some sort in order to get admitted into these private schools. And many private schools, if they're good ones, have a waiting list. So it's not parent choice. It's the private school's choice on the vouchers.
All righty, thank you very much. Maurice, I'm coming to you, sir, if there's a question from the floor.
Hello. Thank you. I do have a question, and this question can be answered by any one of you. Some of you have spoken about healthcare. Leaning on your experience, what would be the first thing you would do to bring about change as it relates to healthcare?
Anyone can go. Steve, let's go with Steve first. He's been the last one for a number of these questions.
Well, there are a couple of things. I
think you turned it off.
Hopefully you can all hear me back there.
I think you were on just a minute ago.
Yeah, it's getting all fuzzy.
Hey. Can y'all hear me? Yes. All right. There you go. Just speak deeply, directly into it.
Can y'all hear me back there? First thing I'll do on day one is to drop a bill to restore the principles of Roe v. Wade, and I'll also add in that bill substantial protections for OBGYN providers so that women do not have a secondary effect of this, of not having physicians that are qualified to take care of them. We have to also watch out for the physicians and state action against them. And the feds need to step up and have their back, or else we have another healthcare desert caused by stupid people at the state level in government. Thank you very much.
All right, whoever wants to go next. 1 minute to answer this question.
Yes. Now you're making me want to stand up.
No, we're going to sit down. Only person to stand up is Pastor Goines up in here.
Okay, so for healthcare, whether you have insurance or not, you're paying too much money. Like I was quoted $3,000 for an MRI and I had insurance. And small businesses who are trying to hire can't because workers are looking for insurance with the work that they do. So Medicare for all, universal health care, there is no other option. Like that's it, single payer. And we need to get 60 votes to do it. So if you actually want to flip Texas, it's going to require a woman who can take on Ted Cruz, because the two guys, again, they're all nice, they're nice guys, but they won't cut it against them. And so to win the 60 votes, we got to flip seats. And so, yeah, I'm planning to do that and get, and also, because I'm an empathetic voice and a woman, I'm able to also cross, build bridges between folks and try to convince people, again, that it's the obvious choice to have single payer.
Very good. Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, definitely Medicare for all, single payer. The profit motive in health insurance is killing us, literally. I'm a capitalist, I'm an entrepreneur, love capitalism, but I don't think we should be trying to make profit off of people who are ill and who are sick. I think we should negotiate drug prices and eliminate, I can't read my writing, but that's okay. I am a licensed health insurance agent. And do you realize that when the quotes that I provide are the same ones that are in the marketplace? Do you realize that insurance agents usually get anywhere from 15 to 20% commission off of an individual policy? And when it's a group policy, it's around 5 to 7%. We can eliminate that and save costs and save people money.
Denise?
At the state level, the first thing I would do is expand Medicaid. Expanding Medicaid will lower our property taxes. They're always talking about, let's lower the property taxes. Well, we support our public hospital with our property taxes. The hospital could use the money from the expanded Medicaid, and that would result in our bills being lower. The second thing that I would do is figure out why Tarrant County has the worst maternal mortality rates in the United States. We have terrible rates for neonatal fatalities in Tarrant County. We have got to do something to help the health of the people in this community, because we have people dying because our healthcare system in Texas is not what it should be when we have one of the top economies in this country.
Thank you. Ebony?
Well, I'm going to join Denise in fighting for the expansion of Medicaid. 1.4 million more people would qualify instantly if we expanded Medicaid in Texas. So that is definitely one of the first things I would do. Currently, we are on a waiver wait list that is thousands and thousands and years long. My sister-in-law went to Colorado, which is a blue state, and was able to get Medicaid almost immediately when she got there, and not having to wait years and years and be thousands and thousands on the list. So Medicaid waivers allow more resources for people with special needs. And so first thing I would do would be to expand Medicaid, and then secondly, to have more mental health resources for people in the criminal justice system.
Thank you very much. Maurice, I'm gonna come back to you, sir. I see you got some questions there. Anything that jumps out at you, sir?
Yeah, this question is for the U.S. Senate candidates. What is your position on increasing the retirement age, and how do you plan on protecting Social Security benefits?
Let's do 1 minute on this. Steve, I saw you jump in.
There are two ways that we deal with Social Security benefits and protecting the fund. First of all, the Social Security fund should be in place and secure until 2037, but that's not good enough. So there are two ways. We increase the level at which we can still tax folks in terms of their income to take funds and put it into the Social Security Trust Fund. The second way, by just doing a 1% increase on that Social Security tax on folks who are already paying into it, it will extend it out 50 years. So to me, those are very clear, and it makes a lot of sense to do that, and to do it before there's a darn crisis again, right? So that's my proposal. Thank you.
Kelly?
So we shouldn't be raising the retirement age. That's ridiculous. And I'll say, like, my grandma's Social Security check was abysmal, and like she was, giving me $5 just to go get gas to make it to College Station to go to school. Like, the fact that we're not paying enough for people's living, the inflation, it's ridiculous. And we don't even got to get into all the nitty-gritty tax stuff. Like, there's like 30,000 people in this country who have more money than God that they will never spend in their life. Like, why can't we be doing wealth taxes? Like, there is stuff that we need done. We need to take care of our seniors. We need to have universal health care. We absolutely have to get child care that's more affordable and accessible, and all of those things. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Thank you. John?
Yes, definitely higher tax for the 1%. That would do a lot. We need to devote more budget dollars for retirement and for Social Security, and of course, as mentioned earlier, single pay. Also, we've got to have a conversation about it. We've got to be open and honest. When Social Security first came out, there were 50 workers for every person who qualified for Social Security. Now it's 2 workers for every person who qualified for Social Security. The solution to that is we have to have a strong, robust economy, not leave anyone out, and get more people contributing and paying into the system.
No, we gotta keep it moving, y'all. Maurice, I'm gonna come back to you, sir. Do you have a state question?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, sir. The question here is, there were over 26,000 pregnancies due to rape in Texas last year. Do you support the current Texas laws on abortion? What is your stance?
So my stance is I am for privacy in women's health care reproduction, because that is what Roe v. Wade was about. It was about the right to privacy, and I think that's where we need to get back to. The Dobbs decision overturned that, and I believe that that's where we need to go, because if we leave that decision between a woman and her doctor and her faith leader, then we get to stay out of it. We're in church right now, so I'm going to give you all the scripture. It's 1 Philippians 1:1. He who hath not a uterus needs to stay out of mine.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Denise, the floor is yours.
The Constitution provides for this right of privacy, and the Dobbs decision leads us to look at whether or not they're even going to attack our right to birth control, because it's based on the same right of privacy. And so in order for us to protect our reproductive choices, we have to institute a constitutional protection at the federal level, and then at the state level, we need to eliminate all of these restrictions that interfere with a woman's right to make her own reproductive choices. Thank you.
All right, no, we're not going to do that. All right, y'all, last question is going to be
We just
from...
need sex ed so bad. We aren't teaching about the cycle of abuse young enough, and there's young girls and people who need to know that they don't end up in the rape.
Respect. I'm not going to play that game with you. All right, y'all. So here we go. Last question, and then we will go into a closing statement. The last question is on immigration. And your context, I would like the 2 state candidates to answer the question within the context of the state of Texas, and the federal races folks to answer it within the context of the broader United States, or you can bring Texas into play. What is your stance on immigration policies and their impact on the state of Texas or the U.S. more broadly? If elected, how would you address this issue? 1 minute for each of you, whoever wants to go first. Ebony, I see you grabbing the mic.
I'll go first. When I was in law school, immigration was federal. So I don't know if something's changed in these last few years since Abbott became the governor of Texas, but it's federal law. So my colleagues over here to the left, when they get in Congress, they need to pass a bill to secure the borders and on immigration. I am not for this new policy that Governor Abbott have implemented, where state police can arrest anybody who's undocumented and judges can then deport them. That is not within the purview of state law. That is federal. And I'm glad the DOJ is suing Texas because of this. So that's where I am. I think we can secure our borders. I do believe there's a process to get visas, work visas for people coming over and get them working, and that will help our economy. So that's where I am on immigration.
Denise?
My grandparents immigrated here from Italy in 1908. I feel strongly that their pursuit of the American dream is something that should still exist today for immigrants. But unfortunately, the federal immigration policy has not been fixed since, I believe, 1993. And the Democrats are trying to get things passed, and the Republicans keep shooting it down. And so you have to elect Democrats at all levels of the ballot to fix this immigration policy, because the Republicans are only using it as a tool to campaign on. And my opponent, he is proposed that we have a posse that sits at the border to shoot the immigrants that come over, and he wants to give them immunity. He wants to immediately deport all the DACA recipients. That there's just so much wrong with that.
John, floor is yours, sir.
Yes, immigration has been used as a political football. The Republicans don't want to solve this problem. They just like a wound. They want to pick at it and fester it so that they can raise money and excite their base. We need humane immigration. Off the top, the lack of humanity is embarrassing to the greatest nation in the world. We need modern borders. I serve on the Border Trade Advisory Committee. There's lots of technology that we can use to make our borders safe. We can also have a digital waiting list. There's no reason why people should have to come here to get on the list when they can use the internet, cell phones, to be able to get on that list. And then last, I am in favor of a Marshall-type plan, just like they did in Eastern Europe for South America. They're coming over here for a reason, and that reason is not talked about at all. If we build those countries up like we did European countries, I think we can solve this problem.
Very good. Thank you. Heli, I see you.
Okay, so I have family on both sides of the border. So my dad's from Monterrey, Mexico, like I said. Obviously, we need to have dreamers get their citizenship. We need to have it where whoever gets here, we need to give them work numbers or social security numbers so they can go to work and get taxed, contribute to the tax base. We also need housing so bad. We should be the people who want to come here, get them training so they can go help us build housing. We desperately need housing to solve our housing crisis and housing costs. And like I said, having family over there, and it's dangerous to walk around as a young woman by yourself in parts of Mexico because of cartel activity, and around the border near, in Texas. So we really need to think about how the violence that we're dealing with, and how bringing a different type of empathetic voice to the table, opposed to more machismo, more men yelling at each other about stuff. So I think it's important to have a female kind of perspective in this.
Thank you. Steve?
We launched our campaign in Brownsville with the border in the background. There's a reason for that. We can do better. We have a Texas without a Texas leader who stands up and calls balls and strikes on the border regarding people coming in and causing problems and saying untruth and racist tropes against folks. We need more immigration judges. We need more interviewers from the INS right on the border to help ease the backlog in those camps. And I've been to those camps in Mexico. I've sat with those families and listened to the tragedies they had to endure in their countries of origin as well as on the way. You've all heard those stories. We need a lot more resources on the border to help fix a broken system and also maintain our security. And we can do it as long as we stand up and take charge as Texans. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Everybody's going to get 1 minute. I believe we're starting with you, Ebony. Did we start? I think we started with Steve and went this way. Ebony, you get 1 minute to tell us why we need to vote for you.
Absolutely. Thank you again for allowing me to be here. Thank you to the audience for wanting to be engaged in the process by being here. So I am Ebony Turner. I'm running for Texas House District 96, and I can assure you that when you vote for me to send me to Austin, I will fight for schools to be fully funded, public schools to be fully funded. I'm going to fight for special needs parents and special needs students. I'm going to fight for women's reproductive health. I'm going to fight to overturn those anti-DEI and racial profiling laws. I will be fighting for criminal justice reform, and I will be fighting to be sure that there's no inhumane treatment at the border for those citizens for those immigrants that are trying to just come here and have a better life. Ebony Turner, remember, it's not political, it is personal, because I'm fighting for people like my son Isaiah, and I've been on these front lines out here in this community, fighting for other parents and children, and I'll be fighting for you in Austin. Vote EB for HD96, www.ebforhd96.com.
Thank you. Again, my name is Denise Wilkerson, and I'm running for House District 94, the seat that is occupied by Tony Tinderholt. So if you live in Arlington, or if you have friends in Arlington, or if you have family, neighbors, co-workers who live in Arlington, Hearst, Euless, Bedford, I need you to get out the vote. We cannot turn this state back to being the welcoming, loving, justice, all of the things that are so important to having a strong community, strong families, strong economy, are being devastated by our current Republican government that's been there for 30 years. 30 years they've been in control. It is time for us to slay these dragons and elect some Democrats, and we need your help.
John Love, JohnLoveForTexas.com. You know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Shout out to Fannie Lou Hammer. And if you are looking for someone to fight the dishonesty, the deception, the not getting anything done in Congress, please go to my website and support my campaign. I'm running in District 6, which is one of the craziest gerrymandered districts in the state. It's part of Irving, Grand Prairie, Arlington, Midlothian, Mansfield, Waxahachie, Ennis, Corsicana, Hillsborough, Fairfield. It is completely crazy, but they think that by doing that, that they can win. Democrats, when we vote, we win. Please go to JohnLoveForTexas.com and support my campaign. Thank you.
Okay, so we haven't won statewide in 30 years, and I ran because I knew this would happen, that the Democratic Party, powers that be, would prop up candidates based on money and not whether they could actually beat Ted Cruz. And so we're now in the situation, there's a few weeks left, right? And so there is a progressive woman of color in this race, and it's me. I'm from rural Texas, so I can speak to rural issues. I can speak to the reproductive rights issues without having to be like, oh, it's my daughter. Oh, I'm worried about my mom. No, I've lived it. I've had to drive to Fort Worth from Stephenville, Texas with, trying not to get pregnant at 13 and 14, to go to Planned Parenthood in Fort Worth, because these small towns don't have anything. So to have someone who can speak to these issues and the abuse our young girls and LGBTQ folks and the danger that they're in these small towns and big places too. But it's so important to put someone different if we want to beat Ted Cruz, and that's me. Go to hellyfortexas.com, share my Instagram videos with your friends, and let them know that there is a woman in this race who can actually beat Ted Cruz, because they're terrified of intelligent, pretty women. So I got them.
Thank you.
If I wasn't running, should have my vote. Look, Steve Keogh, KeoghForSenate.com. My life has been one of protecting democracy around the world. I never, ever thought we would be on the protection front line here in the States. But we are. All of these candidates can take their opponents. I know that, and I can too. I'm going to finish on a positive. The last time I was here and had such an enjoyable time was with my grandson not too many months ago when we were here for the sweep game at Rangers Stadium. And that was great and sweet and a wonderful memory, just as I hope tonight will be for me going forward. I appreciate all your support. We need you all to vote and to bring 50 of your closest trusted friends for all of us, okay? Steve Keogh for Senate. I can beat him. Thank you very much. Good night.
Hey, y'all, let's clap it up for these candidates. And now I'm going to ask y'all to gracefully exit the stage. Thank you once again. I'm going to welcome on next our candidates for Tarrant County Constable and candidates for judge, various judge positions. Give us a few minutes to change out.
been so good, he been so good, good. He's been so, so good. He been so good, he been so good, he been so good to me. He been so good. Oh, you are so beautiful. Here in your holiness, Lord, I wanna bless. So I let my heart confess. You are so beautiful. Before your majesty, you showed me love when all I felt was tragedy, and that's why I'm glad to sing. I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praises shall continually be in my mouth. No matter what I see or how I feel, as long as I'm breathing, oh yes I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. As long as I'm breathing, oh yes I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. Father, have your way in this place. You be glorified in it all. Come on, let's raise it together. Say, I will bless the Lord and his praises shall continually be. No matter what I see, as long as I'm breathing, oh yes I'm breathing, I'll bless the Lord. As long as I'm breathing, hey, oh yes I'm breathing. Come on, say, oh magnify the Lord. Let us exalt him. That's the reason why we're here tonight. Let's lay down our crowns and live. We come to do it together. Let's do it together. Let's go. Hey, let's do it together. I need some help in this room. Hey, let's do it together.
Okay, everybody, I think we're just about ready to get started. All right, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we have welcomed onto the stage our candidates for Tarrant County Constable and candidates for Judge. All right, let's clap it up for these folks, all right? We're going to handle this one the same way we handled the previous discussion. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. We'll start with you, Cindy. We'll go left to right, or your right to left, and then we will work our way back when it comes to the closing with 1 minute. Cindy, the floor is yours.
You can hear me? Yeah. Great, thank you. I am Cindy Stormer. I am your Democratic nominee, just like Marquita Clayton here to my right. We're both on the same team. We're not running against each other. We're both on the team of justice and democracy. Running for district judge for many reasons. The biggest reason is the deaths in the county jail, 62 as of today. I know some people say 61, some say 60. They're not counting that dead baby. 3 times the national average. A woman was arrested. She was innocent. She was kept in jail for 5 months, didn't have a single court hearing. And then when she went into labor, she started beating on the cell walls. They ignored her. Baby is born in the jail, dies. Tarrant County. Robert Miller. They handcuffed him and pepper sprayed him to death in the jail and are telling us he died of sickle cell disease. He did not have sickle cell disease. A woman died in the jail of dehydration. We just paid a $1 million lawsuit in September because a man died in the jail and his body laid there for 6 hours before anyone even noticed he was dead. They're supposed to be checking on them every 30 minutes by state law. A woman had epilepsy. She had not committed a crime. She was arrested, she was put in jail, and left laying on the jail cell floor for 10 hours having seizures, and did not receive her medication for 10 days. This is because the jail is overcrowded. The jail is overcrowded because the judges aren't showing up for work. State Rep Lon Burnham presented to Commissioner's Court just a couple of weeks ago. He got called in for jury service along with 200 other Tarrant County residents and was told, go home, we don't need you. 30 judges didn't show up for work today. Moses that's running for sheriff. Same thing happened to him a week ago. Same thing happened to me a few months ago. I've been an elected district attorney where I reduced the crime rate 25% while cutting the jail population in half and stopping the procedure of sending people to out-of-county for-profit prisons. Prisons should never be for profit. It always ends badly. It always costs millions of dollars in lawsuits. Other lawsuits.
Thank you.
That's your
Okay.
2 minutes. So you all
Thank
weren't
you.
here at the beginning. You
Cindy
get
Storm.
a yellow for 30 seconds and red when you're done. All right, and y'all know we will cut you off. All right, Mark, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay. I am Marquita Clayton. I do go by Mark. I am running for Criminal District Court number 2. That is a countywide seat, so do not let that District 2 fool you. There is no specific District 2. So if you're anywhere in Tarrant County, you can support me, and I hope to gain your vote after tonight. I am a practicing criminal defense attorney, primarily in Tarrant County. I am a former prosecutor. I prosecuted cases down in Hood County, Granbury, Texas, and I've also done family law. I say that because I believe it's important for a judge to have a variety of litigation experience so that that particular judge has an open mind when they take the bench. It takes a different skill set to prosecute a case than it does to defend a case. And so if a judge is sitting on the bench that's only prosecuted cases for 10, 15, 20 years, then they're going to look at a case with a prosecutor brain. And as a defense attorney, I've been in court and a number of times before judges who I believe have ruled incorrectly and shown bias towards the prosecutor. And that's primarily due in part to that prosecutor brain. And so I think it's important that we have a judge who's able to be open-minded so that we are ensuring that everyone that comes into court gets a fair shake. I would like to restore dignity and respect into the courtroom. Oftentimes when you go in there, individuals, you can feel unwelcomed, degraded. The way that judges speak to people can be very rude. And so I would like to ensure that everyone who comes into my courtroom feels respected. There is an overcrowding issue in the jails. We have 4 jail facilities here in the county, and that is largely due in part to the backlog of cases and the inefficient running of dockets. And so I would also like to ensure that dockets are now being run effectively and efficiently.
Sandra, floor is yours.
All right, good evening, everybody. I am Sandra Lee, and I am the elected constable in Precinct 7. Precinct 7 represents this area of Arlington, Kennedale, Mansfield, Grand Prairie, a little bit of Burleson, a little bit of Fort Worth. As Denise was saying earlier about the Dragon Slayer, when I ran in 2020, I beat somebody who had been in office for 16 years. And the reason why I ran was to make sure we had people in law enforcement that was going to look out for the African American and Hispanic community. My daughter was almost choked out by an ex-boyfriend, and they let him walk away. And when I called them about it, their comment was, well, we thought maybe she would take him back. That ain't none of their business whether she take him back or not. The law should apply to everyone. And so that's why I'm here. When we have issues, I want y'all to have somebody that y'all can come to. And in Precinct 7, since I've took over, I've got rid of the corruption. I made our office more diverse. We had a $650,000 revenue this year. We actually raised $834,000 in revenue. My deputies are out there working for the community. We making sure those who get evicted have some place to go. We are very community oriented in Precinct 7. And that's why I want y'all to consider voting for me in November. Thank you.
I'm Constable Robert J. McGinty, Constable of Precinct 2, incumbent constable. I'm Pastor R.J. McGinty of the Community Missionary Baptist Church in Fort Worth, Texas, over 29 years. I'm also the moderator of the Galilee Griggs Memorial District Association of Baptist Church. I'm also the executive director of CDF Freedom School there in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been in law enforcement over 41 years. I started back in 1981. It might be off for a year or two. I've worked in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I've worked in the Sheriff Department, criminal investigations, warrants, mental warrants, extradition. I worked in judicial, then going to the constable's office over in Precinct 2. Since being constable, we have increased, as Sandra said, our revenue, but that's not the big thing we have done. We have changed the culture in our department. When I got into my department, there was lack of diversity. We have changed the culture in that our department, we're also a community oriented and a community-based office, and we strive to serve with compassion and to lead with compassion. I am not, do not have an opponent in the March primary, but I do have an opponent in the November general election. I'm asking you to vote for Robert J. McGinty, Constable of Precinct 2, that we can strive to continue to make a difference, not only in our communities, but also in the relationship with our community and law enforcement. Shouldn't be intimidated, shouldn't be afraid when you see me coming, because I not only have to do my job, but I also can steer you in a different direction and can show you how to solve your problem. And so Robert J. McGinty, Constable of Precinct 2. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. As with the previous discussion, I want to encourage folks to write down questions. You all gave Maurice and Billy a bunch of questions. Sadly, we can't get to all of them, but we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can. See, our UTA students are walking around with cards and with pens. With that, I'm going to start off with remember, folks, these folks are not running against each other. They are running for positions, similar positions, but not against one another. So let's go a question for our judges here. Which Supreme Court justice most closely represents your judicial philosophy and why? Which Supreme Court justice most closely represents your judicial philosophy and why? Let's do 1 minute on this, and whoever wants to go first.
You go ahead. I went first last time.
All right, Mark.
Okay, Supreme Court Justice, I would have to say, obviously, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Come on, give it up. That's our first African-American Supreme Court Justice. One thing that I really, really admired about her is her credentials. She is the most qualified justice to ever serve on that bench, more qualified than the individuals that were seated at the time of her confirmation. And one thing in particular is her role as a defender, not just, like I said, on that prosecution side. It is different when you have to stand up in defense and pretty much against all odds when trying cases here in this country. So I would have to say Justice Brown Jackson.
Cindy, answer for you on this one?
Oh, I also admire her, but I think I would have to go with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I know she's not here anymore, but she was an ACLU lawyer. She fought for human rights. She was extremely hardworking, and I identified with a lot of her opinions and the way she ruled on many things. She had a lot of life experience. She was very hardworking and had just worked in many different aspects of the law.
All right, very good. I've got a question here for our constable candidates. Do you believe that all citizens have adequate access to legal help and the legal system? If not, what can be done to provide wider and better access? 1 minute on this one. You want me to say it again? Yes, sir. Do you believe that all citizens have adequate access to legal help and the legal system? If not, what can be done to provide wider and better access to the legal system? Robert, I see you grabbing the mic, sir. The floor is yours. Let's do 1 minute on this one.
Well, thank you very much. No, I do not believe that everyone have the same access. Oftentimes, if you're in a more affluent area or been brought up in a more affluent environment, you have more access than other people. I do believe that as a constable and in law enforcement, it is our job and duty to make sure that everyone that come in our contact, that we can provide the necessary information for them to get the legal help and to steer them in the right direction to get that legal help. There is also other avenues to get legal help. West Texas Legal Services is one of them. And then Being a law enforcement officer this year, we have relatives that's in the legal field, attorneys and so on and so forth. And so we do our part as law enforcement, also as pastors, that sometimes we're not only pastors, but we are bail bondsmen, we a whole lot of things. We give spiritual and guidance and advice. And so there's every opportunity we have, we can connect people with the right resources that they need to get the help that they need at the time that they need it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sandra, floor is yours.
We will never have a fair chance until we get the right people elected. It's as simple as that. We can give them all the advice that we have. It's not going to get them the help they need. We're going to have to get people in office who care. We're going to have to make sure when we go to vote, we take 50 to 100 more people with us. It's not that hard, people. It's really not. And I get frustrated because we ask these questions that we already know the answer to. It takes elected officials who care about each and every one of us. And until we get them in place, there's going to be always somebody who's struggling.
Thank you very much. Maurice. Brother Mo, you got one? If it's relevant to this discussion.
Appreciate it, thanks. This question is for the judge candidates. What is your current position on cashless bond, or cashless bail, please, excuse me.
Current position on cashless bail.
Cashless bail.
Let's do 1 minute on this one.
That's worked excellent in other states. I support that. But you need to look at it very carefully and see. You don't need to be letting anybody out that's a violent offender. They're letting murderers out on bond here in Tarrant County, walking around for 5 years, making us very unsafe. Somebody that wants to commit a mass murder at a church, they just put him on probation last week. And so we don't need that. But we have a serious problem here. I was the chief of the mental health division in the Dallas District Attorney's Office. We have 1,306 people that were arrested here in Tarrant County last year on Class C misdemeanors. That's equivalent to a speeding ticket. But they were jailed. These are false arrests. That's illegal to put somebody in jail on a Class C misdemeanor. We have at any given time in our Tarrant County Jail 80 people that are on a $500 bond or less. Those people can't get out of jail. They can't afford to get out of jail, and they're in there on non-violent, low-level offenses. That needs to change.
Mark, would you like to answer this one?
My answer will be much of the same. I do believe that there's room to use more of what we would call a PR bond or personal recognizance bond on those low-level misdemeanor offenses. I agree that we should not have folks sitting in jail for months at a time on a charge such as criminal trespass and things of that nature. And especially when the bond, it's costing us, the taxpayers, more money to leave them sitting in jail than it would if we just paid the $50 that it would take to get them out of jail. So there's definitely room to improve our bond system, and there's definitely room to utilize more of the PR bonds.
Very good. Maurice, do you have a question for our constable candidates? If not, I do have one. You don't? Okay. All right. For our constable candidates, can you please describe a case that was morally or ethically challenged your beliefs? How did you approach this particular case? Can you think of a case or a situation in the course of your duties that sort of challenged you morally and ethically? And how did you approach the case as a result of feeling challenged morally or ethically? 1 minute on this one to continue with the time period.
I'm going to need about 25 seconds. As constables, we have to go out and help CPS retrieve kids. And the hardest thing we do is take a child from a mother. So when we go out to take that child, I try to make sure that I have someone there with me that has mental health experience, because I know that's what that mother's going to need when that child is taken. And so it is hard for me to take a child, but by law, it says that we have to do that. A lot of things we have to do that is probably against our morals, but it's just a part of our job. And I'd rather do it than have the person who was there before me do it, because that way I can show compassion. and we can make sure that the family and the parent is taken care of.
Thank you very much.
Being in law enforcement over 40-some years, you've seen so much, and starting back in 1980, in the 80s when I got in law enforcement, I saw so much racism and injustice and so on and so forth, working for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and even when I left Houston and came back to Tarrant County, so I worked for the Sheriff Department, there's still a culture and things that were said that really challenge me staying in law enforcement. But I made a decision then that if I left, then I won't be able to be in a position to help the people that need help. And so I made the decision to stay in law enforcement and to make a difference from the inside, not on the outside, talking about the issue. And that's why we need people who believe in justice and equality for everybody on the inside, not just on the outside talking about it, but on the inside that can make a difference. And that's why in every department I worked in, I climbed the ladder and to be over the department and not just at the bottom of the department, looking at the problem or running away from the problem.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Maurice, I saw you got one. Do you have one last question, sir?
Yeah, this question is from online. I think it's somewhat general, but the question is, what areas does each candidate cover? Specifically, this says, what area does Precinct 2 cover, and then have each candidate state their area that they cover. That's in regards to area.
I guess that I'd imagine this goes back to sort of geography, like mentioning cities in which cities and territories. Somebody did that earlier and talked about it. Yeah, Sandra, you won't need to do that, but everybody else, just kind of mention really quickly your territory that you're running for or that you already are elected to cover.
So Precinct 2 covers central Arlington, Arkansas Lane, all the way north. We go as far north as Euless now. We don't cross Euless to go on the other side of Euless, but we go all the way up to 183. We go far south, far west as the Lake Arlington, where Arlington butts up against Fort Worth. When you get to Arkansas and Matlock, they gerrymandered our precinct about a year ago. They carved it up, and so they moved my precinct all the way up to East Abrams, and then go all the way east to Grand Prairie. And they did that strategically because we had just flipped Precinct 2 from Republican to Democrat. They said it because the caseload, but we understand what was really going on. They did it because we flipped it blue, and that's why you need to get out and vote for Robert J. McGinty and vote for Sandra Lee in Precinct 7, and that we can turn Tarrant County completely blue. So thank you very much.
My seat is a county-wide seat, so if you live anywhere in Tarrant County, you can vote for me.
Okay.
Same district. Can you hear me? District judge.
Maybe yours is messed up now too.
Same. District judge. District judge. Got it now. Sorry. Same here. It's district judge, but it covers just Tarrant County. And first thing I would do is appoint a competency public defender to my court. That saved Dallas County $300,000 the first year that woman was in that position. And we would move those cases, like Commissioner Simmons pointed out to us just recently at the town hall meeting. A man was in jail on a $25 bond for 90 days. His crime was he didn't move for a street sweeper when it came by. That cost you over $20,000. These mentally ill people, if they're being treated properly in the jail, it's costing you $300 a day. We had 329 people in our jail last year that were incompetent. They served an average of 282 days. The time that they would have served on their crime was 8 days. That's because the crime that the mentally ill are most frequently arrested for is criminal trespass. In other words, translation, being mentally ill in public. Judge Neekum said at the town hall meeting that Commissioner Simmons just had here in Arlington just a couple of weeks ago that the diversion center is being unused. That was her words, unused. You can run 400 people a month through that center. I guarantee you that I'll do that myself if I'm elected. These people.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, you know, Maurice, I appreciate you got a question, but we do have one more debate after this. I'm going to give everybody 1 minute to close, all right? And I believe we started here with Cindy. Robert, it's your turn. 1 minute to deliver your statement for why we should vote for you, sir.
Well, first of all, it's an honor and privilege to be here today and to be a part of this great forum. And thank you to Pastor Goines, and thank you to our moderator. Thank you to all the students that's here today and everyone that's come to be a part of this program. You should vote for me because I'm a lifelong servant and I'm a compassionate leader. And I'm one that's been making a difference all my life, from 41 years in law enforcement, over 40 years in law enforcement. I'll continue to serve our constituents and your best interests. I do all I can to make a difference and to continue the great work we're doing in Precinct 2 here in Arlington, Texas. Again, that's Robert J. McGinty for Constable. Look me up on, I got a marketing team. They got me on with the TikTok and it was Twitter, now X. They got me out there doing a whole lot of stuff now, and now they talking about they want me to do a video, or what you call that, a video and all that kind of stuff. So just look for me, Robert J. McGinty. I'm out there somewhere in cyber. You'll see me doing something. Last night I was at the Dallas Mavericks game, and they got taking pictures with my daughter, and so just look up Robert J. McGinty. If you ever at Precinct 2.
All right, Robert, thank you. Thank you. Sandra.
Thank y'all for inviting me out this evening, and I believe I'm the best person to be constable in Precinct 7 because out of 3 that's running, I'm the only one with constable experience. I've only been in law enforcement for 3 years, but those 3 years, the constable office has made a big impact in our community. I was in education for 28 years. My whole life has been community serving. That's what I live for, that's what I'm gonna die for. We need all the volunteers we can get for campaigns because a lot of us, we do not raise a lot of money, so we need help getting the word out. So if y'all have time to volunteer, please give us a call. I don't have McGinty's game, but you can find me on Facebook, so thank y'all.
Mark, the floor is yours.
Again, I am Mark Clayton, or Marquita Clayton, running for Criminal District Court 2. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our representation in criminal court is at stake. We have 21 criminal courts. There's 1 African American serving in all of those 21 courts who will retire at the end of this year. And after him, there will not be another unless you elect me. There's 52 courts that serve this county, and there are only 3 African Americans who serve in those 52 courts, and one of which includes the judge I was just speaking about. I am community driven. My whole life has been spent serving this community, and I want to continue to do that. As your next judge of Criminal District Court 2, please follow me on all social media. I am Facebook, Instagram, and I do TikTok very well. I am Mark for Judge. It's MARQ for Judge on all social media. Please follow me and share my content. Thank you.
Thank you.
She's a great singer, too. I commend you to her webpage. We got to keep these low-level, nonviolent offenders out of jail, and we've got to get these violent offenders to prison where they need to be. Neither one of these categories need to be crowding our local jail. Please go to my Facebook page and look at the document that was sent to the Department of Justice outlining at that time 54 suspicious, neglectful deaths in our jail. And Tarrant County is the epicenter for voter suppression, for Nazi white supremacy, for the insurrectionist, and for hate crimes. That's according to the Southern Poverty Law Center that keeps up with this. We got to change this at the grassroots level. We can do that here. We're the ones that have to do it. And when Tarrant County turns blue, Texas turns blue. And when Texas turns blue, we're not going to have another Republican president again for a really long time. So I ask you to get to the ballot box. My name's Cindy Stormer, and we're going to storm that ballot box the way they stormed the Capitol.
All right, y'all, let's clap it up. up for them. We're going to ask you all to gracefully exit the stage. Thank y'all. And now I'm going to ask our two candidates who are running against one another for Tarrant County Sheriff to please come to the stage. We will have your discussion promptly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. That, 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 that. Love don't love like that. I can't love that. That, I can't love like that. That, can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Talking behind your back. Told me to love on you.
Check.
How you gon' hate on that? Trauma in my
Testing.
melody. But I found me a better thing. God said I'm your remedy. Just gotta remember me. This a 1 Corinthians banger. Ran into the anger changer. I ain't worried about stranger danger. I'm trying to help you in danger, stranger. A wise man gon' say sorry a lot. A lot of time I don't do it on the spot. God, I need what you got. 'Cause love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love. I can't love like that. Like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Gossip and slander. Can't fake my manners. How can I love you if I can't shake your hand first? Hey, let's get honest. Lord, I let your hand work. This world way too toxic. Please come heal this cancer. I know you all know that we want it, but how we all gon' go if we don't confront it? Just let it go, take the high road. Don't play dummy, no, I can't quote the Bible, acting funny. Lost when she tell me this ain't her favorite song. She can't have filet mignon, she rather eat at home. Shed your blood, shine your rays, no my stereo. Couldn't leave you wrong, 'cause love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love. I can't love like that. Like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. That. I can't love like that. That. Can't love like that. Love don't love like that. 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 I can't love that. That. Can't love that. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Can't love like that. Yeah. I can't love like that.
All right, y'all, we're going to need another minute. Our timekeeper stepped out of the room real quick, so we'll just wait for him to come back. Just give us another minute or so. Turn the music back up, y'all. I know y'all don't want to hear me talk.
All your heroes, they're just
Thank
human. And they know not what they do. What they do. The perpetrators of division are the casualties in the name of religion. So you think that you'll be safer from a distance. And I won't say it's not true. Oh, I know that you've seen the sin of hypocrisy. That's the human condition, that's not God's heartbeat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So if you wanna leave, if you gotta go, then go. I'll be right here. I'll be here. When you come home, when you come home. If you wanna leave, if you gotta go, then go. I'll be right here.
y'all. Thank you very much, and sorry for the quick delay. It is 8:39, and our whole plan was to get y'all out of here by 9. So we're going to try to do our best to respect that time. I'd like to thank this has been a fruitful conversation thus far. I really appreciate your participation. And again, it's an honor to be here at Koinonia. That being said, let's start our final discussion for the evening. We have two candidates that are running for Tarrant County Sheriff. They are running against one another, okay? But let me also be clear and let y'all know the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. We invited both Democrats and Republicans. We always do. Sometimes the Republicans do show up, and it's always a good time when they do. They did not show up tonight for this event or for this discussion, okay? So that being said, I just want to be on the record so y'all know we invite everybody, all right? But with that, y'all, we're going to hop in and discuss with our Tarrant County Sheriff candidates. Again, we'd love to get community engagement and involvement. We're running close on time tonight, but still, please submit questions to our young people. They're doing a great job here tonight. We've got a lot of questions thus far, but let's keep them going. That being said, let's start off with our candidates. We have India Murray, and we also have Patrick Moses. And we're going to give you both 2 minutes to give an opening statement, and then we will jump into some questions. India, let's start with you. The floor is yours.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm India Murray, running for Tarrant County Sheriff. I am currently a police officer, and I work with Kennedale Police Department. I am the executive board member of North Texas Crime Prevention Association as first VP of training. This is my second term. I am a mother. My daughter is 20 years old. In the stands, I started running. I wanted to run because I feel that people's lives are at stake, and I've prepared for this moment to be able to be in the midst of change. Being in law enforcement has shown me that in order to affect change, you have to be leading from the front. And that's what I plan to do.
Patrick, floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. To this distinguished historic organization, NAACP, to Alpha Phi Alpha, to Delta Sigma Theta, to Pastor Goines and the proud people of Koinonia, to our moderator. I'm Patrick Moses. I am your candidate for sheriff. I served for 31 years at retirement as the Assistant Director of Field Operation with the Federal Protective Service, an arm of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I'm also the pastor of the First Missionary Baptist Church in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm qualified to serve as your sheriff, having had responsibility for a portfolio of upwards of $300 million at the zonal level and close to $1 billion at the national level. I'm running for sheriff because that position is a position of leadership. Oh, by the way, I'm running because of one person, and 59 plus one other as of today, a baby named Zenora. I'm running for justice.
All righty, thank you very much. We're going to give 2 minutes to this question here. If elected, what would be your top 3 priorities as the sheriff of Tarrant County? If elected, what would be your top 3 priorities as sheriff? Whoever wants to go first to describe your top 3 priorities. It looks like Patrick, the floor is yours, sir. 2 minutes.
The first, of course, is ethical leadership. The second is accountability. The third is trustworthiness. Ethical leadership is what is needed. We have a sheriff who, in the month of February, where we celebrate Black History Month, our sheriff is more concerned with Donald Trump's conspiracy fraud of election fraud, focusing on that. And we all know a GOP Secretary of State said there's no evidence of election fraud in Tarrant County, but that's what he's doing. So as sheriff, from an accountability perspective, I would focus on what I call a civilian review board. a capability where people across the county can hold me accountable and provide information on every use of force action and every in-custody death. Within the first 100 days of my administration, I will implement what I call 100P3. That is a robust, thorough, complete review of every practice, every policy, and every procedure, and get feedback from the community to ensure that we are keeping Tarrant County safe.
The first thing that I would do is to build the culture. The culture within law enforcement is what's needed to ensure that we hold people accountable. We have to ensure that people are not taking justice in their own hands. We have to ensure that when people call on law enforcement, we're actually helping, we're not making situations worse. The community calls on law enforcement for help, not to take justice into their own hands. Secondly, what I would do is to ensure that the community trusts the jail system and the criminal justice system. We need to build legitimacy and ensure that we're doing what we need to do in order to protect the inmates that are in there, as well as engage with the community to build up that trust. And also, we need to ensure that we have accountability. Putting in accountability measures in place is important. That's what we need at the foundation in order to ensure that the misconduct, the negligence is not occurring and we're not having the in-custody deaths.
Thank you very much. So y'all been hearing me for the evening call on Brother Maurice, but Brother Maurice had to leave tonight. Tonight was his son's birthday, so I think we all understand why Brother Maurice is gone. Brother Hawkins is here. Brother Jared, I know you got a couple of questions from the floor. I'm turning to you, sir. I have an online question. You might have to turn that mic on, sir.
Thank you. I have an online question. Question is, how is law enforcement addressing the mental health issues that seem to be rising in our society?
All right, anyone to take a minute on this one? How is, under your administration, how would you address matters of mental health and law enforcement under your administration?
I will address mental health as far as making sure that we partner with community-based organizations to ensure that they have the treatment and healthcare that they need. I will ensure that we expand upon the diversion program, and I will ensure that they are actually being diverted to the programs that they're needing. So, for instance, being on the streets as a mental health peace officer, we have the discretion to bring them to JPS. It depends on the egregiousness of the offense, and they will bring them to the jail. And based on that, they would have to, I just need to finish this thought. So based on them bringing them to the jail, there's Sandra Bland Act that has in place for officers to actually check the correctional officers. They're supposed to do an assessment to divert them to, as far as using it as a guidance, to be able to monitor the inmate or divert them.
Okay.
So that's what I will make sure that we do. Thank you.
Patrick, sir, your turn.
I will tell you what I will not do. I would not follow the practices of the current sheriff. If you think of Robert Miller, a mental health issue. You think of Javante Myers, a mental health issue. If you think of Georgia K. Baldwin, a mental health issue. If you think of Chastity, one of the judge candidates shared with us, gave birth banging on a door, and the jailers ignored her pleas. Mental health is a real issue. And so what we need to ensure that folk who are experiencing housing insecurity are not arrested on trespassing violations, that we create a whole of community resource to ensure that the critical care is provided for the most vulnerable people in Tarrant County, and we will keep people safe in this county.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right. Jared, I see you got another question, Frat. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm messing the microphone. I actually have a two-part question, and they are for the, I'm going to read it as stated. I won't say female. To the lady candidate, what are your top 3 things that qualified you to be Tarrant County Sheriff? And to the male candidate, what would you do different than our current sheriff?
All right, India, I think we should do this for both candidates. I don't think this is a gender question. What makes you qualified to serve in this capacity? 1 minute for each.
Each question or each part?
Let's go with one question at a time. What makes you qualified to serve for this position? 1 minute each.
What qualifies me is my education, my law enforcement experience, and my lived experiences as well. I'm capable of providing diverse perspectives. I'm forward thinking, and I'm capable of the aspects of law enforcement traditionally is reactive, and what I align with is being proactive and being able to partnership with community-based organizations and being able to problem solve and actually get things done versus putting Band-Aids on situations and not actually solving the problems at hand.
Patrick?
The Texas Constitution tells us that the role of a sheriff is to serve as the chief peace officer, the chief law enforcement officer for the county. That means that the sheriff is a leadership position. It is not a partisan position. I have, over the past 31 years, served at various levels of progressive, responsible leadership positions in the federal government, indeed in the Department of Homeland Security. So I'm prepared on day one. I do not need to take an on-the-job training course. I do not need anybody sitting on side. On day one, I can manage our budget. On day one, I can ensure that we recreate a culture of trust and accountability in the Sheriff Department. It's a leadership job. I'm a leader. That's why I'm running.
Thank you very much. Jared, what was the second part of your question, sir? What would you both do different as compared to our current sheriff? What would you do different? Let's take 30 seconds on, no, let's take a minute on this. Whoever wants, I see you got the mic in your hand. India, go.
I will ensure accountability measures are in place. Prioritizing transparency is important. We need to know that we have integrity and that we're going to be responsible with the people in the jails and that we're going to treat them with human decency.
I think I only need about 30 seconds. The current sheriff is following Donald Trump, following right-wing conspiracy theories. What I do differently, I lead. That's what we need as a sheriff, a leader.
All right, very good. I got a question here, and we would like to keep the questions coming. Jared, you got one? All right, let me ask this one, and then I'll come back to you, sir. If you had $20 million to make major changes related to one issue in the Tarrant County criminal justice system, how would you use the funding? What changes would you make and why? So if you had $20 million to fix one issue, how would you use the money? And why would you do that? I see somebody, whoever wants to go first. Let's do 1 minute on this question. India?
I will address the mental health issues because they have nowhere to go. Since the hospitals have been closing down, then on the streets, we have nowhere to send them to. As JPS is the only hospital, it should be more programs, more organizations that are willing to help, and we should have more treatment for them. Most of the time, when we have encounters with them, is because they're not taking their medication, and it's because they're saying that they can't afford it, or it's something that they're not able to. It's not actually regulating their needs. So we need to invest that money on mental health.
Thank you very much. Patrick, floor is yours. What would you do if you had the $20 million to make a change?
Indeed, in addition to the $40 million wasted on Garza County for a non-compliance jail, use all that money, redirect it back to those areas that are in need. People who are experiencing housing, people who are experiencing mental health crisis, ensure that we're doing that. Then take the remaining $20 million, because it started off with $40 million, really. Take the remaining $20 million and then ensure that we are educating the workforce. We're educating the women and men who are serving in the jail so that they do not create or allow another Zenora to be born in the Tarrant County Jail and ignoring compliances of people there. So it's about focusing on the people there, developing, ensuring that we're educating, ensuring that we're providing professional development and creating a space of ongoing, continuous professional development.
Very good, sir. Brother Hawkins, I'm coming back to you, sir. If you have another question there, sir.
How do you intend to ensure Tarrant County Jail passes inspections?
If elected, how are you, can you give a little, is there any, this is a new one to me, is there a little context here? Have our jails not passed inspections? Yes. All right, sir, you look like you're ready to go. Okay. So why don't you hop in for a minute, sir?
In particular, one of the things that Tarrant County's in trouble for is that they're not doing the jail checks and things like that. So what can you do to try to make sure that they're in compliance doing their jail checks?
Absolutely. Excellent question. Mentioned Javante Myers earlier. Tarrant County went in non-compliance on his death. By the way, we paid $1 million to his family, then paid money for the lawyers to defend him. So that's an issue for Tarrant County. So I told you that within the first 100 days, I would create a robust review of every policy, every practice, and every procedure. The Texas Commission on Jail Standards says if a person is in custody experiencing mental health, suicidal, or a threat, you are to check on them every 30 minutes. If there is a normal person in custody, then that person should be reviewed every 60 minutes. So we'll create a culture following the guidelines of the state and ensure that not 30 minutes, but you go every 28 minutes. So do a culture transformation that we stay out of non-compliance.
India?
Can you repeat the question?
If elected, how will you make sure that Tarrant County jails are in compliance?
It starts with following procedures and protocols and laws that are in place. Sandra Bland Act, it mandates for individuals to be assessed as soon as they come into the jail. And so that would actually guide them to determine how they need to be monitored in the jails. So that's where it starts. And secondly, we need to ensure that the policies and procedures are looked into and re-examined, seeing what actually works, identifying what is not working, and do things differently. We need to ensure that misconduct is not occurring and that we make sure that individuals are accountable for that.
Thank you very much, y'all. It is 8:58, and I told you I was going to do my due diligence, and I really appreciate you all staying here till almost 9 o'clock. Thank you all very much. We're going to end the evening. We'll do one last closing here, and then I'm going to ask Pastor Jones to come up to end the evening, sir. But before we do that, I'd like both of you candidates to take 1 minute to tell us why we should vote for you when we go to the polls. And I believe we will start with you, Patrick, this time.
Let me say thank you again for allowing my colleague and I to stand and share our experiences. I'm running for sheriff of Tarrant County because I am uniquely qualified. I know the Star-Telegram recommended me. I know the Dallas Morning News recommended me, but I'm running because of my leadership, my ability to do, actually my ability to respond to that prophetic question found in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, which simply says to us, O mortal, what is good? And what does the Lord require of me? To do justice, to love kindness, and walk humbly before my God. As the sheriff of Tarrant County, vote for me on early voting, February 20th through March 1st. March 5th is election day. Look forward to serve as your sheriff.
India, take us home. Why should we vote for you?
You should vote for me because I am a community leader, I'm a mother, I am a public servant. I'm here to serve you, and your issues are not just your issues. Your issues are my issues as well, and I will fight for you, and I will advocate for what's needed in the jails and in the sheriff's office. And I am qualified in every area, and I plan to lead the sheriff's office as well. And I feel that if you have a voice, then use your voice and go out to the polls and vote. Thank you.
Hey, with that, y'all, I want to ask the good Pastor Jones to come up here and close us out, but I want to thank you all as well for your participation. Clap it up for yourselves, all right? This does not work without community participation, and with that, I want to hand the microphone to the good pastor.
We want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. We want to thank all of our candidates for showing up and participating. We want to thank Alpha Phi Alpha, Carlton. If you could come on up, we'd appreciate it. And Delta Sigma Theta, if you have a representative, we appreciate if you come on the stage. Also, we want to thank UTA and their students for being here and contributing so much. You guys were great. And we want to thank Koinonia, Pastor Goines, good friend of mine. I'm so happy and thankful that he allowed us to use this venue for the forum, and for all of you that came out and participated. I want to give you guys a minute.
I don't need a minute. I just need to say thank you for all of you who are engaged this evening. So the charge for you is to take what you've learned tonight, take what you've heard, go out and share that information. Recruit some people to come with you to the polls. It's our job to make sure that people are aware of what's going on and the importance of their vote.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Redvine. And just to piggyback that, all votes are important. So while we're here in March for the primary, there will be another vote later on. But you see, we are here now to educate because all votes are important. So ensure that your voice is heard, ensure that the voice of your community is heard, ensure the voice of your neighbors is heard. It's definitely an effort done by the team. So be sure to take that into account and pass the word on of what you learned tonight. Thank you.
If you're not registered to vote, we have a table right outside the NAACP. You can actually register to vote. The Deltas have a QR code. If you would, please scan that code and then just do a short survey of the forum tonight. With that, we appreciate you being here. We're thankful our political action group.